You're listening to WRUU-LP, Savannah, Georgia, 107.5 FM, WRUU.org. We are Savannah Soundings, community radio with global soul. You're listening to music local and sustainable, and I'm your host, Dave Lake. Tonight we have singer-songwriter Thomas Oliver. I have to admit, however, that I do have another favorite line, and that's from the girl with an accidental memory from the Edge of America album.
Oh yeah,
and it's aerodynamics cannot explain the fear of flying.
See, you're picking out all the perfect lines. You know what you're doing, man. Absolutely, that's a great story behind that song. I was involved in a jam at Doc's Bar. This was several years ago, and it changed my life. Not only did I meet some people that became my best friends here, but have become some of my collaborators in music. And at that time, the people that were coming to it, they were different people and all had really pretty sophisticated skills. Unfortunately, they are not there anymore. They've all gone on to different things, but there was a bright and shining moment where we all came together. And at one point I looked at the playlist I was using in gigs, and easily a quarter of a third came from songs I first encountered at this jam. So one night I come to the jam and I'm a little late, and I walk in and I hear somebody say something about an accidental funeral. I thought, God, that's weird. So I got out my notebook and pen. I wrote that down. About the time I was finished writing that, I heard somebody say, "in a $5 memory." I thought, well, that's cool too. But when I wrote it down, for reasons I have no idea why, did the line that juxtaposed them, so that I was ending up purposely with accidental memory and a $5 funeral. So I was joking around with them. I said, so I got me an accidental memory and a $5 funeral. I'm going to write a song on this. And about that time, Pete Love walked in. He said, "Y'all won't believe it, man. I'm late because I got behind a car that had a broken tail light and the blinker was blinking all the way to Tybee." And I said, "Oh, I'm going to put that in the song too." And so I did. But my favorite line in that, and the producer, Tom Newts out of Nashville, who produced that CD, "Aerodynamics can't explain the fear of flying." So yeah, you zeroed right in on it. But, and the way I wrote that song, I went, oh gosh, now being a big shot, I got to go back and write a song. And so I actually Googled accidental memory. I think, sometimes I don't know if I'm making stuff up or if there's a certain phrase like that. So I didn't get much anything, but I got interesting memory tests and memory exercises. And there is, amongst the mathematicians of the world, how do you memorize the digits in pi? And they write poems, pi poems, that have something to do that help them figure out how many. So I'm like, pi, pi, wow. So pi, first 100 digits of pi. So somebody's got a memory. If you had a memory, how would you show it off? Well, you could name all the presidents and the first 100 digits of pi. Well, after that line came, the rest of the song was just like me being dictated to. It was like, boom. It really came together quite quickly, and I played it as I do all my songs for my wife, who is my editor, and she said, as she is wont to do with a lot of songs, you need another verse. And so I added the verse about them getting married.
She can tell you all the presidents and the first 100 digits of pi. She can write haiku and even make it rhyme. She loves to dress and lace and drink $2 Chuck wine. She has an accidental memory and a pyromaniac's eye. She threw my dad a $5 funeral when he died. We used the money we collected to get wasted and high. She said he would have liked it, so many came from every walk of life. But he would have been disappointed none of them were his ex-wives. She said Dad wasn't much of a lover, but a really nice guy. Though she never imagined ever being any man's bride. But every time she left him, she couldn't stand to see him cry. So they upped and eloped and took a shot at the divine. She can tell you all the presidents and the first 100 digits of pi. She said living is hard when you don't have a place to hide. She said aerodynamics can't explain the fear of flight. She has an accidental memory and a pyromaniac's eye. Took me to the ponds and she showed me around. She said Atlanta was burning and it wouldn't be rebuilt this time. She said the girls work hard, man, they're sure sick and tired. Then she lit a cigarette and set the whole damn town on fire. Follow the blinking light in a busted Chevrolet tail light. It took me all the way to Savannah, and then I turned right. I ended up on Tybee on the beach with high tide at the first light. With the girl with an accidental memory and fire in her eyes. With the girl with an accidental memory and fire in her eyes. She can tell you all the presidents and the first 100 digits of pi.
But yeah, as many times as I've done that song, I always enjoy doing that song because I know I'm going to get to sing that line. There's got to be some payoffs, you know. That's another thing I have purposely tried to do is, and I think Sean Mullins mentioned this one time in an interview 20 years ago that stuck with me all this time. And that he said he tries to leave little nuggets along the way, even after you've gotten to the hook and the chorus. And when you're into another verse after that, you still need, and again, it goes back to what I'm saying, the hardest thing to do is not repeat first verse. If you've got 3 verses in a song, man, you are really stretching it. Because if you have a chorus, that's 3 verses in a chorus, and you've got to say something different. But he has always said this, I try to leave these little nuggets further down the line so that if you are listening to the 3rd verse, you come across aerodynamics. Or then when you get to the 4th verse, you realize we're now on our way to Tybee. And the other thing that I like about that song is that I've been saying has an accidental memory and a pyromaniac's eye. And at the end, after she's burned down in Atlanta, it's like she's an accidental memory with fire in her eyes. I like how that resolved itself to being a pyromaniac, to having fire in your eyes. It's not quite the same, but it worked as a transition.
And I hate to disagree with the author, but I think you were actually heading to Savannah, but you turned right.
Yes, that's true.
I'm also trying to still figure out what what a $5 funeral would be like.
I think the $5 is an admission. They were charging $5.
Oh, I see.
So the money they collected, they used to get.
Oh, that's right. That's the way it's phrased.
That's a legitimate question.
But they use the money they collected, right, to get high.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. That's right. Okay. Yeah, and I have to admit, just like you, every time we get to that point, it's a stimulus to go on. As a listener, I get to that, finish the song, and I have to hit repeat again just to go back for that one line. You're listening to Music Local and Sustainable, and I'm your host, Dave Lake. Tonight we have singer-songwriter Thomas Oliver. We were talking earlier about adding the third verse is a real challenge. You have to do something really new. Well, there's one song, and that is Getaway Smile, that keeps coming and keeps coming and keeps coming.
Yes. Yes, that's actually one of my favorite songs that I don't get to do out much. I'm a little hesitant because of its length. It's longer than most. It's about 6 minutes. But it's a complete story song, fabricated song. I like to think of it as my movie song, because I hope if you closed your eyes and listened, you could sort of see this sort of noir thing playing out between a gambling man and a good-looking traveling lady. I came to that song, a friend of mine, I don't know how we got to the Getaway Smile. We were talking and exchanging emails, and he about once every 2 or 3 years gives me this great idea for a song. And he was playing off of The Girl with Accidental Memory. And he said, write a song about somebody whose memory is like they remember something that really didn't happen. I'm like, okay. I sort of, we talked a little bit more about it, and so I started messing around with it. And about the only thing I came up with was basically the first verse of this song. But when I tried to make it go where he had suggested, it just wouldn't. But I had a lady who wore her gypsy blouse off one shoulder, and she was so hot she smoldered. And I don't know where her Getaway Smile came from. And her Getaway Smile got her all the way. And so that sort of stayed there for a while. And I finally said, John, I don't think I can go where you're wanting me to go. This song wants something else. So I just sat down one day and worked really hard on it and got most of it. It was a story. It was total fiction, absolute total fiction. I mean, somebody might be able to go, well, I don't know, but I mean, it was just like, okay, I'm just making up this story. And once you created the characters, you got this hot woman with a getaway smile, and you got this guy who's got a gambling thing, and you put them together. Well, you're a writer, you ought to be able to write a story, and you know it ain't going to end well.
It's noir, after all.
So, I really like that story. I took the song to my wife when I'd finished it, and she said, to give it the narrator's meaning, you need to add what ended up being those little sections between each one of the scenes.
The refrains.
You get the refrains. You need something in there. And so I really like those. I like the idea. It worked to make the song longer, but one of the things I liked about it was such a simple, starts out easy and it starts out small, is repeated in each one of them, but it's the middle line that keeps the progression going. And I really like that. And then again, as a writer and someone who pays attention to the craft, I was sort of like, yeah, that's pretty cool. I can do that and this. And I thought they also provided, again, little nuggets, little things that you're not expecting. You don't have to run, but you might have to crawl. Sometimes you fly and sometimes we fall, which I really like at the end because I add we. It is just a little bit. It's not just about these people. Don't be pointing fingers. Sometimes we fall.
Yeah, because it's sometimes you fly,
right.
But sometimes we fall.
Right. Yeah, big difference.
Yeah.
And just one word changes almost the song. That's what I love about writing. You're like, gosh, one word. Sometimes I could have written, sometimes you fly and sometimes you fall. And that sort of is flat. Sometimes you fly and sometimes you fall. But sometimes you fly and sometimes we fall. Like, whoops. Very different perspective is all of a sudden introduced into something. It just shows you the power of words. I mean, one word in the right place can change everything. As the cliche goes, there's a world of difference between I love you and I don't love you. So one word can be huge. But yeah, I really like this song. And as soon as I get over thinking it's too long to play, and I played it down a few times, but again, if you're not playing in a songwriter environment, if you're playing like at a bar or a gig, you can tell about halfway into this, they love the opening, and they like the first and the second verse, but about a third verse, they're like, waiter. So that's another thing about playing live. You can, I have tested songs out, and you can tell. I mean, it's not you don't need the difference between somebody who's wrapped attention in the standing ovation to be able to tell how a song is settling. You can go, this needs more work, or this isn't for this location. I have rewritten songs because of response. Yeah, because what it does is you sort of know if something's not right. But we're all sort of lazy. Dang, I'm tired of this song. This has got to be right? Let me play it for you. And you sort of get that vibe and you go, okay, it's not. I knew it wasn't right. And I can almost tell where it isn't right. But I was hoping I was going to get away with something, There's a lazy part in all of us that you just want to go, I don't want to work on this anymore. But nothing like an audience to send you back. That can be humbling, even when they don't, they don't have to boo or go, that's not very good. In fact, some of the worst compliments is when somebody says, that's pretty good. When you know what they're saying is it's not. You can tell. I mean, us writers are sensitive people. We know when you're lying.
Especially journalists.
Yes.
Novelists, I don't know. But poet, I don't know. But journalists, we know when you're lying.
That's true.
I make a few notes before each of these sessions, and right here, I say, I admire the construction of the song where the second line of the refrain tells the story.
Yeah.
It's, you don't have to run, but you might have to crawl. That's the first refrain. The second refrain, the second line is, sometimes you think you've seen it all, but there's so much more in the song here. The next second line of the refrain is, next thing you know, you have hit the wall. And then at the last, the one we were talking about is, sometimes you fly and sometimes we fall. And so it just fits so much in to the song that it makes you go back and listen again.
Good.
Now this is one that is on your website.
Yes.
And so I highly recommend that it stay there and that the listener goes back and listens to it several times, because when I didn't catch on to that until maybe the third one, the third refrain. Let me go back. And the other great thing you do on your website is you give the lyric.
Yes. Yeah.
She wore a gypsy blouse off one shoulder. She was so hot she smoldered, and a getaway smile got her all the way from Santa Fe to Georgia. They said he's wanted in another country, something about gambling with another man's money, but he ain't on the run, he's just looking for cover. She wasn't any one man's woman, and he wasn't any one woman man. start sound small. You don't have to run, but you might have to crawl. But it ain't over till that last call. He never said why they needed to leave Atlanta, just that they'd do better in Savannah, where life is slower and the only heat's found in the weather. She's not the kind to be left alone. Being lonely can mess with your soul. Next thing you know, you're seeking comfort that only the night holds. And he loved rolling those dice, and she loved trolling the high life. He didn't make many friends with his winning ways, and of course she made more than could possibly stay. Starts out easy and it starts out small. Sometimes you think you've seen it all, but it ain't over till that last call. It started getting hotter than the weather. It didn't matter which way he bet 'em. Those dice rolled every which way but 7 or 11. And she was attracting attention, the kind that send married men to confession. If you ain't careful, pretty soon somebody's gonna pull a weapon. And his luck and his welcome were running out, while she was out running around. He wanted them to leave but didn't know how to ask her. And besides, he was worried they might not want to go together. Starts out easy and it starts out small. Next thing you know, you've hit a wall. But it ain't over till that last call. Now you've heard of an inopportune time. Well, that's when he walked in to find her in a, let's just say, a compromising position. Her new friend went for his gun. Her old lover stood there stunned, knowing you can't undo what's been done. And he was the one man she would remember. And she told everyone she'd been forgiven, 'cause in his last breath he took in her arms. He said, "Darling, don't take this too hard." Starts out easy and it starts out small. Sometimes you fly and sometimes we fall. But it ain't over till that last call. She wore a gypsy blouse off one shoulder. She was so hot she smoldered, and a getaway smile got her all the way from Savannah
let's talk about the website.
Yeah, okay. The song blog mainly is what the website is about. And last year, in fact, we're just entering our second year. Last year, I started this thing I call a song blog, which basically is every couple of weeks I post a new demo of a song I've written on the website. And as you said, it includes the lyrics, and it also includes a very short little story about the song, or how the song got written, or something about the song. And I have a subscriber list, and I send out emails to people and say, okay, click on this link and you can, go to the new demo. It's been very fulfilling for me, because at a certain point I realized, one, I probably was not going to do any more fully produced CDs. And so as a songwriter, you've got these songs and you're like, well, okay, other than playing them out, I still want to have a record of them, a physical record of them. So I figured out a way to get them demoed, just me and my guitar. And it also is encouraging me to write. I have a song blog now. I have to feed the beast, as you know. You have a show, you got to feed the beast. So yes, on my website, there's all my music, recorded music, as well as these demos that are easily accessible and found. That's the song blog.
And it's
right.
Thomas-Oliver.com.
That's right, yeah.
I've been enjoying this interview so much, I'd like to extend it for another week. I hope you've been enjoying it too. So tune in later for the second edition of our discussion with Thomas Oliver. This has been another edition of Music Local and Sustainable, and I've been your host, Dave Lake. Save this time for another show next week.
Well, I know we ain't headed for the Hall of Fame. Gonna give it what we got, man, that ain't no shame. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, 1, 2. Let me know if you can hear me. Check, 1, 2.